Hello, everybody. I don't know, I can't see the comments. How am I going to find the comments now? How am I going to find the comments? Here we go. Let's see if we've got any comments. If you are here, if you have joined me, it's 7 o'clock Thursday night. This is going to be a regular occurrence for the next few months. I am going to be bringing you mini masterclasses, really high energy, really quick, brilliant masterclasses that I'm going to dig out from out my brain so that you guys can actually start to build resilience, because we really need it. So today, the subject, I'm just kicking off with the subject, and what I want you to do is just take a little bit of time to sit down and notice. That's what we want to do today. We're not fixing any problems, we are noticing. So the theme is, or the question is, do you have what it takes to build a dream? Now, as business owners who are heart-led and want to make an impact, we're pretty much building a dream whilst we're building our business. We want to change the world, we want to make an impact, we want to have a kind of a ripple effect and make sure that people are getting to places where they want to go. So we have to find out if we are actually ready to build this dream. So we've got a dream, we've got a vision. You might have a vision, you might have half a vision, you might be working towards it. You might have a plan. But there are certain things that we really need when we're building a dream. And there are millions of these things. I've been writing lists of different things that I could talk about. But I've picked the 10 probably the most important things. And what I want you to do is I want you to grab a pen and a piece of paper, and we're going to go through the 10, I'm going to go through a little bit on each one, and what I want you to do before we move on to the next one, I want you to give yourself a score out of 10. Hi, Kirsty. Oh, you've got Disney stuck in your head right now. Oh, don't worry about it. I've always got something or another. I've usually got popcorn stuck in my head. That's... That's really good. I'm going to be distracted. I'm not going to be distracted. Okay, 10 things. What I want you to do is get your pen, get your paper, write down the heading, and when I tell you what it is, I want you to give yourself a score out of 10. I don't want you to fix it. I don't want you to think too much about it. I just want you to write down the score, and then what we'll do is at the end, I want you to have a think about look at the different scores and think about which ones you want to put your energy into, because all of these things are necessary to build as practices to make sure that your dreams actually come true, that you work towards your dreams and build your dreams. Right, without further ado, we are not going to bang on about this anymore. I'm just going to go through the 10. I want you to give yourself a score. So number one thing that you have to do to have, if you're going to be building your dreams, is big metaphorical balls. Big balls. Yeah? Big balls. 10 things, Fiona. 10 things. So what I mean by big balls, metaphorically speaking, is courage. When you start anything that you are unsure about, that you haven't had a lot of experience about, something that is unfamiliar to you, it can be really scary. And to take that first step and carry on going takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of energy. Now, this is something that people like all the guys that I work with, all the people that I've spoken to, they actually find it quite hard, me included, to take that first step and get themselves going. So when you're procrastinating, when you're trying to distract yourself, when you're not doing the things and self-sabotaging, quite often it's because that courage hasn't kicked in, and quite often courage is down to being vulnerable. You cannot have courage without being vulnerable. This is something that I'm going to be talking about next week. I'll tell you at the end what that's going to be about. Oh, Fiona's a courage seeker. Oh, we're going to have a conversation about this. Maybe get you on, Fiona, so that you can have a chat about that as well. Okay, so that's number one. Give yourself a score on courage, on big balls. How ballsy are you? 1 to 10, and then let's move on to number two. Number two is resilience, bounce back ability. What do I mean by resilience? It is that ability to be hit by something either unexpected or something traumatic or something that's going to knock us down energetically or physically or whatever it might be. It might be you're falling down the stairs. It might be your kid's falling ill. It might be you've lost a client. It might be a pandemic. It could be anything. And when you get hit by that, you're going to have a reaction. You're going to have an emotional reaction, and you are going to feel a certain way. Now, we want to collapse time. We haven't got time to be sitting around in poopy soup, just, whinging and whining about things that are happening and not getting on with the business of building our dreams, because it's really hard work and we need time to be able to do these things. So what we want to do is collapse the time. Now, I'm not talking about not processing your feelings. What I'm talking about is processing your feelings and getting into the habit of processing your feelings so that you can come out the other side and get on with the business of doing the hard things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis to reach your dreams. So nothing to do with trauma and feelings. It's about making sure that the gap that you have between getting hit and bouncing back gets shorter through practice. Okay, that's number 2. Give yourself a score out of 10 for that, and then we'll come back to it later on and see how you get on with all the different things. Number 3, hardcore self-belief. If anybody's going to believe in you, it's going to have to be you. It's self-belief. You need to believe in yourself. It's got to be an inside job. It comes from the inside out. If you don't believe in yourself, how the hell are you going to convince other people to believe in you? But there's lots and lots of things that we can do in terms of self-belief. We need to be able to look after ourselves, make sure that we give ourselves what we need and give ourselves the respect that we would give to other people. So having that self-belief is absolutely key when you're building a dream, because if you can't even believe in yourself, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get somewhere to where you go. Fiona is just diving in here. That's something that she has. I'm absolutely delighted to see that Fiona's got self-belief. We're going to see her kick some backside in the not too distant future. This woman, she does quite a lot. She's a multi-best-selling author, and she packs some absolute mega impact. Right, have you given yourself a score? Right, okay. Number 4, a place where you feel safe, and this includes good people. Now, when I was speaking about vulnerability, one of the things with vulnerability, and one of the reasons why we struggle with vulnerability and being able to move on from that and do things regardless of whether we are scared or not, is because we don't have a safe space to actually hold on to our fear and process it. Quite often we just kind of jump in, which is fine if you're used to it, but usually it's an incremental thing. It's a step by step. You start off, it's such a great practice to do, is to start off in a safe space. Don't stick yourself in the lion's den. Get yourself really strong outside the lion's den. By the time you get into the lion's den, you can fight those lions absolutely no problem. So a safe space means somewhere where you can emotionally regulate, somewhere where if you're not in a good place, people have got your back, and surrounding yourself with good people is a matter of course. It doesn't necessarily mean good clients or good suppliers. It means people who have your back, people that are not going to stab you in the back, who are not going to take offense at things, and people who are going to be encouraging and cheering you on as you build your dreams. Right, well, that is number 4. Number 5, this is a good one. The power to own your shit. I talked about self-belief. This is kind of like the add-on to that. This is the radical responsibility that you take to say, actually, I made a mistake. Actually, I did that wrong. I'm not wrong, not right all the time. I am human. I do make mistakes. I apologise. And having that respect for the other person, having that respect for yourself, having respect for the boundaries, so that you can take responsibility for the stuff that you do, whether it's good or bad. It doesn't really matter. You can actually put your hand up and say, I'm taking responsibility, which means that it gives you the power to be able to do something about it. As soon as you start blaming, shoving the responsibility of the icky things onto other people, when you actually have a part to play in it, means that you're giving away your power and you're stopping yourself from being able to do the hard things again. So give yourself a score on that. And that was the power to own your shit. So number 6, what have we got? Number 6, psychological flexibility. This is a concept whereby a lot of it is around balance. We talk about this or that, wrong or right, good or bad, negative, positive. The fact of the matter is, everything is relevant depending on the context. So, for example, if you are really good at maths in one thing, for example, yeah, so you're really good with numbers in, I don't know, calculating your accounts, but you're not very good at numbers in terms of just general adding up, you can't say that you're not good at numbers. You are good at numbers in some way, shape, or form, but not in others. It depends on the situation. Psychological flexibility, Fiona. Psychological flexibility. So it's that flexibility to be able to shift your mindset to get the best out of it so that it still aligns with your values, so that it still aligns with what is important. It's a really deep subject, but it stems from not being black and white, because things are not black and white. There are all the shades in between, and what is good for one thing is not necessarily good for other, even within the things that you do. So how many times are you really good at something when you're at work, and then when you're at home, it's like, you know, you're really tidy at work, and then you're at home and your place is a mess. Contextually, the variables are different, which means that psychologically there's going to be different outcomes. Deep subject. I will get into it into a later stage. We'll probably do a whole masterclass on it. But are you good at being flexible when you need it, to make sure that when you're going ahead and building your dreams, the choices that you make and the decisions that you make are based on your values and what is important to you, rather than this is the way that it's got to be. Basically, you're going to be a rebel and a bit of a rule breaker. Okay, so that's number 6. Number 7, good energy habits. By good energy habits, I mean physical energy, emotional energy, I mean health, I mean fun, I mean self-care. Do you pay enough attention to the things that your body needs, that your mind needs, that your environment needs? Do you pay enough attention to that on a day-to-day basis? Because this is what we're talking about. We're talking about things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis, the skills that you need to practice so that you get really good at things and you build the resilience. And when things happen in life, which they inevitably do, you get really good at standing up to them. And that, when I was saying about the resilience, you know, shortening that time, you get really good at shortening that time because you build the strength within yourself to actually do that. And energy is a big one, because I know so many people, world-changing people. Kirsty, that was good energy habits. So things around self-care, health and fun, you know plenty about that. So I know quite a lot of people who are changing the world. They are making ripples in the world. They're doing great things and they're going great guns, but they're already on the back foot in terms of energy, whether they've got some sort of disability or some sort of compromising energy situation, or their health is maybe not so good, or they suffer with mental illnesses and mental health conditions that make it very difficult to actually become aware of what is fun to them and incorporate that into their lives. They started from the back foot, but these people are still moving forward and still changing the world. And I think part of the reason that they're doing that is they're paying more attention to their energy. They're making sure that their energy is in a really good place so that they can actually give back to the world, make sure that they've got enough for themselves so they can sustain themselves in doing the hard things and getting to the place that they want to go. So good energy habits, self-care, health, fun is a really important one. Okay, number 8. Hey, we're whacking through these. This is great. Number 8, the confidence to fail. Now, I don't know if it surprised you to know, but I hate failing, probably like the vast majority of you. I absolutely hate failing. I was brought up, I was a pretty clever kid. I always got everything right. I liked being right. And as a general rule, we don't like being wrong, do we? And we don't like failing, and we don't like being criticised, and we don't like, you know, our self-worth being picked at because we've done something that other people think is wrong. But the fact of the matter is, failing is, and we know this, it's just you trying telling your nervous system this, failing is actually the opportunity to realise where things can be improved, and getting really good at failing by having the confidence to do it in the first place. So we were talking about earlier about courage and having big balls. When you have that and you have the confidence and the swag to actually own up to your, again, this radical responsibility, own up to your failures or the things that haven't gone according to your expectations, what do you do then? How do you bounce back from that and actually turn that into the next stage of life? No, we don't like that, but it is good for us. It is good for us, Fiona, and it is something we need to practice every single day, because it's not natural to us. It's part of our protective mechanism to be right, to feel safe, and to have clarity about where we're going. And the vast majority of dream builders don't get that opportunity because we're doing things that we've never done before, and potentially what other people have never done before as well. Confidence to fail. Give yourself a score on that, and we'll move on to the next one. The next one is, do you have listening ears? You know when you go to school and you sit down on the carpet and you're in reception and say, click your listening ears on. You click your listening ears. The reason they ask you to put your listening ears on is to give you the opportunity to actually notice what is going on around you. Now, if you're going to be psychologically flexible, if you're going to be environmentally flexible, which means that you adapt to changes well, which is another thing that you need when you're building your dreams, you need to be able to listen to what's outside of you, what's inside of you. But not just listen, you need to be able to pay attention with your eyes, with your heart, with your soul. So we're talking about intuition. What are we paying attention to? And we've got a reticular activating system, which means that it's going to filter stuff through. And I think we need to be very focused about what is important to us and turn our energy to that stuff, because it's important for us, because that's the things that we're going to use for building our dreams. So paying attention, listening ears, looking eyes, and trusting your instinct as well. So are you good at that? Let's write down on your piece of paper, listening ears, and then whether you're great at listening. And some of that is to do with feedback as well. I mean, how many times do we want to not fail and then we don't ask for feedback because we think we're going to fail because the feedback's going to be rubbish, and then we've gone down this loop and we've neither got the confidence to fail, our listening ears aren't on, and we're going in a downward spiral, and it's not getting us any closer to where we need to go. So we've done 9 so far. We've got another one. I could go on about this literally all night long, but I'm not going to. I want to make this as short as possible. Short and sweet mini masterclasses. So the last one, number 10, is growth mindset. I hope I haven't missed any out. No, I don't think I have. So growth mindset. We are here to do big stuff. Every single one of us. You, Kirsty, you, Fiona, anybody else that's watching on replay, drop us a replay, hashtag replay on there as well. Drop us a comment. I'll get back to you if you've got any questions as well. But none of us are here to play small. None of us. None of us are here to have a shit life. None of us are here, well, not any of my mates anyway, are here to ignore everybody else, you know, sit in your pit, eat cakes and watch Netflix for the rest of your life, because that just sounds bloody boring, doesn't it? What we want to do as human beings is, yeah, we want to protect ourselves, but we want to grow as well. We want to grow as people, we want to make the best out of life, and we want to pass that on to everybody else. We want to leave a legacy. We want to be an inspiration. We want to make changes for the better so that other people can actually feel better than we have done in the past and learn from our mistakes without having to make those mistakes in the first place. So we want to grow as people. We want to be constantly evolving before we take our last breath on this earth, and actually be proud of what we have done and what we have accomplished. And that growth mindset is absolutely vital. And there's going to be days where you just want to hide under your duvet. God knows. There are many times that I feel like that. Not so much these days, but in the past it was like a daily occurrence. But I still had that growth mindset, even when times were hard, even when I didn't want to get out of bed, even when I just wanted to go back to sleep and get a little bit more sleep, and then try and tackle things afterwards. But it's that resilience to keep going, that drive to keep going. Oh, Fiona says she's not doing too bad after looking at her score. Brilliant. And that growth and that drive to keep going, and that's the thing that we need to practice to be able to carry on doing, because it's that one of those things, if you don't use it, you don't lose it. If you don't practice it, then you don't get the opportunity to get really good at things and turn them into habits. And I think it's not that you're either a growth mindset person or you're not. I think sometimes life throws us curveballs and it makes it all too easy to revert back to, you know, climbing back inside your shell and feeling really vulnerable and not wanting to come back out again and feeling that traumatic experience. But we live and we learn and we move on and we grow bigger again and we start from scratch. It's like snakes and ladders, isn't it? You go up the snakes, you go up the ladders. You get to the top, something happens, and then you come down the snake again. And sometimes it's like, do I have to go through this again? But there's that little voice that says, yes, You know what you need to be doing. Just crack on and blooming well do it. So there's 10 things there. Fiona's doing really well. Kirsty, I want massive things and to make a difference to people. She's got the growth mindset going on. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 10. But if you've been following along and you've had those 10 things, I'll go through them for you once again. The metaphorical balls, so big balls are courage, resilience and bounce back ability, the ability to actually go from being hit and coming back from it as well, pulling your big curl pants on and cracking on. Hardcore self-belief, making sure that you believe in yourself so that you can drive yourself forward. A place where you feel safe and people to support you, absolutely key when you're trying to practice courage and you're going to be vulnerable. The power to own your shit, which is radical responsibility, good energy habits, so everything that you do from self-care to make sure that your health is good, everything that you need, fun, to sprinkle that dust along the way, to have a great time and actually make the experience a really great one. The confidence to fail is another one. Listening ears, so paying attention. How do you pay attention? Do you notice the important stuff and how do you take that in and move yourself forward with that? And the last one was growth mindset. So give yourself scores, and what I want you to do is over the next week, I want you to come back next week, because next week we're going to do a masterclass at 7 o'clock right here, playing the hero versus being the hero. So we're going to dive a little bit into courage, what that means, and what is the difference between playing a hero and being a hero, and figuring out which one, what kind of hero you are as well. So we'll be looking at that. But what I want you to do between now and then is, if you've written those 10 things down, you're giving yourself a score out of 10. I want you to go back and have a look. It will be good, Fiona, don't you worry. I'll be bringing it. I've got my spangly jacket on today. I might put a different spangly jacket on next week if I remember. So what we want to do is look at what we've got. If you've got 10 for stuff, give yourselves a pat on the back that you're working on that every single day and you're making it really important. And if there's some lower numbers in there, then you got to keep turning up to my masterclasses, because we're going to be working on these things over the next few weeks and the next couple of months. And it'll give you the opportunity to kind of learn some new practices that you might not have thought of, and something that you might want to give a try. And you know I'm going to cheer you on, so I'll want to have your feedback as to how you're getting on as well. So that's the kind of things that we're going to be doing. It's just a noticing exercise. I want you to really feel into it. I don't want you to start beating yourself up about any kind of low scores. It just means that you are acknowledging that there's certain things that maybe you want to put your energy towards. You can kind of keep the 10s on the back burner whilst we start looking at these other things as well, because they are important. You are doing a freaking important job. If you're in my world, if you're a small business owner, you're heart-led and you want to make an impact, like Kirsty, who wants to do massive things, and you're one person, it's actually really, really difficult, because you're hit by hard things every day. You're wearing so many hats, using up so many energies, and we need to get really hardcore. We need to be able to do hard things. And in this day and age, we're not really given the opportunity, so we've got to give ourselves the opportunity to do that. Now, one last thing that I wanted to mention, I'm going to be banging on about this till kingdom come, is I am so excited to be hosting my very first event of this type. I have done events in the past of different types, but self-development event in Preston on the 1st of November called Dream Builders and World Changers, and it is for you if you are a dream builder and world changer. We're going to come into the room, we're going to look at how to build resilience, we're going to play, we're going to discover, we're going to listen to stories, we're going to listen to experts who'll tell you amazing things like how to future-proof your business with your finances, how to actually turn failure into something amazing and do it really quickly, how to build energy and vitality, and why connection is probably one of the key elements of any kind of plan to get to a dream and change the world. So those are the things that are going to be going on the day. If it's something that you're interested in, I'm always going to drop a link. There's going to be a link somewhere that says Dream Builders and World Changers Experience. Click on that. There's more information there. If you want to grab a ticket, do that as well. In the meantime, just have a little reflection time on what we've talked about today. If you're on replay, drop me a replay, ask me any questions. I'll get back to you as soon as they pop up. And I will see you next week, same time, 7 o'clock, right here at the Happy Business Club HQ, playing the hero versus being the hero. I'll see you later, guys.